Welcome to the Grease Den. My name is Brad. I like to shoot out high gain amp heads. I do speakers and cab reviews, pedal reviews, and all sorts of other stuff. If you're into that kind of thing, then you're in the right place. So today we're going to be taking a look at my Yamaha T100 amplifier. This is a sleeper Soldano amplifier. It might look sort of just like a very generic, like, I don't know, basically a rack mount unit, and it is rack mountable, but most of these came inside of their own head shell, and they came out around the early 90s. The T100 is a collaboration between Yamaha and Mike Soldano. He designed this amplifier with Yamaha, but it's basically the lead circuit of an SLO 100 with a separate channel with its own EQ controls for the clean channel. There isn't a crunch channel on this, it's just the clean channel. It has a maybe a little bit more push compared to a SLO clean channel. So yeah, it's a very unique amplifier as far as like the voicing goes. It's much like an SLO and similar to the other Soldano models. It's a little bit tighter and a bit more aggressive, I guess, than some of those other amps. It sounds really good plugged straight in. So my unit has been modded slightly. The first thing you might notice is that the head shell is not the stock head shell. It has these little Velcro strips right here, okay? And those are, because this is a gator case rack head shell that I put this in, it came in a sort of like green, army green, like, you know, rack thing that I didn't really care for. So I got this. It's a little bit more like a regular amplifier head shell. I also had a Onetics output transformer installed in this, and I'll try to include a picture of that, which shows you the, you might be able to see the size difference. So this is the original output transformer that was in there when I got it, and it's not tiny, but for a 100-watt amplifier it's a bit small, and I think that they undersized these and differentiated from Mike's specifications because they wanted to save costs, and they also wanted to be able to fit this into a combo head shell, so maybe it made more sense to have a smaller output transformer in there. The Onetics transformer is about 1.5 times as big as that. It's the same basic construction and dimensions of what's in the SLO 100. I did not change the power transformer, so just the output transformer. I also had a depth mod installed on this amplifier, and I usually run that up around noon, and of course we'll demonstrate that a bit. The control layout is pretty basic on this. Another thing that really differentiates it though from the other Soldano high gain heads is that it does have a reverb built in. So in order to accommodate for the larger output transformer, we had to shrink that down to a much smaller Accutronics like low profile reverb, which doesn't sound as good. I didn't really care for it to begin with, but it sounds okay on like clean stuff or maybe high like leads, but I really don't use the reverb that often. So these are some of my settings, but you have your presence, global presence, your reverb, your master, your treble, middle, bass, and then a preamp. And in order to switch between the two channels, if you don't have a foot switch, there's a push-pull pot here on the lead channel. The lead channel is the bottom row of knobs, and the clean channel is the top. The top one has a pull for a bright switch, bright cap, some maybe removal, similar to the SLO, which has a bright switch. This has the bright pull out. Yeah, these like I said, these were designed by Mike, but there's a little bit of controversy about whether or not the amp turned out the way that he wanted it to. Just from diving into the forums, I've been able to gather is that basically there were some modifications to the reverb that he did not approve of. and there may have been some other modifications. I'm not exactly sure. I believe this is pretty much the same as the SLO, however, in that the effects loop is in between the pre-gain and the EQ. So it's a little bit different than like the modern SLO, but I don't really use the effects loop, so that's not a problem for me. It sounds really good just as it is, so I didn't change any of the preamp circuitry or anything like that. But yeah, we can take a look around the back here. Maybe we'll be able to see. So yeah, I've got JJ6L6 tubes in here. This amp has a whole lot of 12AX7s, as you can see. Yes, I also had a full-size choke installed. Or no, it came with the choke installed. Originally, these did not have a choke. They had a resistor. That is the new output transformer right there. As you can see, it is quite a bit larger than comparison. It's hard to tell because of I can't position them exactly in there, but you can see sort of the difference in size this way. Okay, it's about 1.5 to 2 times as big. And it does make a big difference to the tone. It's a lot more three-dimensional now. It doesn't distort as easily, and it's a lot louder as well. There you can see the, we've got that Accutronics modded smaller reverb tank. And there's a reverb driver unit there behind that. Looks like it might have some, it's the tube layout. Okay. Interestingly, these were manufactured in the United States in Thomaston, Georgia, my home state. I like that a lot. When I had this installed, the depth putt, I requested that it just don't cover up Michael Soldano's name. That's it. So yeah, and you have a regular impedance selector switch. There is a line out with a level knob, which is kind of nice. If you wanted to run to a DAW or another power amp, there's a foot switch, and there's your effects loop. This amp also has a AC out, which could be useful. I assume that's because these were meant to be rack mounted. Alright, as always, I'm going to give you guys a rundown of my setup for today. So I'll be using the 1985 BC Rich Ironbird U-Series here. It has a Avedissian Kulshan. It's overwound in the bridge. There's a video about it if you want to watch. I have a link in the description. Obviously the T100. Most of my amp demos are through this cabinet. This is the Soldano 4x12. It's front loaded. It's a 90s cab. It has V30s and H75s in an X pattern. Okay, so I've got one SM57 on each where the dust cap meets the cone. My signal comes from the guitar into the pedal board here, which has 2 different banks of pedals. One is for clean mostly, and the other is for drive. Basically, all my drive pedals are up here, and they're in one side of the loop. And then these pedals right here, including the wah, are all in the clean side of the loop. Everything passed through the TU3 first, of course, and then into this. There's a buffer underneath this before it heads into the in-audio 8x7 switcher. Okay. And then from there, it goes into the cabinet right over there that we just saw. And from that, it gets put through my Scarlett 18i20. And then it heads over into Cubase DAW with Cubase 13 with no post-processing. I forgot. I'll go ahead and turn the depth knob off. All right, so now this would be like the stock tone. Without the depth knob, it really does lack some of that low end. So before I had it modded, I would pretty much just run the bass all the way up. So that's I think that the clarity that this has now with the Onetics transformer in it is a lot greater than when I originally got it. It sounded a little bit more congested in the top end and a little bit more compressed. This sounds much more open and like sort of just classic sounding. So, but the overall tone is unaffected. Like I said, the preamp was not touched. So let's increase the preamp gain a little bit. like with most Soldano amps. I kind of like the mid knob around noon. And if this had the depth knob on right now, I wouldn't be running the bass so high, and that's generally the case with all of these amps. If you don't have a depth knob, then the higher bass settings are acceptable. I do wish it had a little bit more gain on tap, I guess. It really doesn't start to get crunchy and sort of fat and saturated until you get it above like 8 or 9 on the dial, so you don't have a whole lot of usable range with that like saturation type tone, but it does sound really good with it backed off, and you get like sort of a more mid-gain tone. It does sound kind of vaguely rectifier-esque when you scoop the mids and boost the gain. Right about there. Gets kind of spiky in the treble here. It doesn't sound great with it all the way up like that. I actually kind of prefer it rolled off a bit like that. I'll demonstrate the reverb on this channel for you. Sound too bad. You can definitely tell that it's an amp reverb and not like a boot, like a nice pedal or whatever. Why you would ever use that, I don't know, but I mean, in studio setting maybe, you know. So the President's knob is kind of nice. I kind of go back and forth between whether I like it boosted or not boosted, but like at noon or below noon. I pretty much like it at noon or below noon, but it seems like it brings up a lot the look here. It's really bright. Sounds kind of weird. great descriptions for what I'm hearing right now, other than it sounds good. Every guitar player kind of likes what they like, and I really like Soldano amps. If you've been following the channel, you probably know that. And this just fits right in with like what I enjoy playing and plugging into. So even though it has a lot of versatility as far as the voicing that you can, as far as how you can tweak the voicing, it all just sounds really good to me. It all sounds playable. So yeah, rocking the Presence around 4 may sound a little bit muffled, but I find that when I crank it and when I put a boost in front of it, that sometimes works better for me. The Presence knob is really a powerful tone shaping tool, especially when you reach master power amp distortion levels. So yeah. Start to bring in a whole lot of top end until you get up to about like 8 or 9, I feel like. Then it starts to get kind of sizzly. Between 5 and 8, it's a lot of mids basically, so you're kind of like sweeping through like mid boost-ish kind of tone. In case you were wondering, no, this is not like the Imperial Sith emblem for you Star Wars fanatics. This is actually 3 pitchforks, tuning forks for tuning pitch. That's, or was, or maybe still is, the Yamaha logo. It's kind of unique. I really like the way that this amp looks from the front. It just looks evil, kind of menacing, because it does kind of look like an Imperial, you know, Sith logo from Star Wars. But and then the T100 kind of makes me think of Terminator. You know, the T100 was, I think Arnold Schwarzenegger was the T100. So yeah, it's kind of cool. But yeah, I don't know what else to do on this channel. These settings are pretty good for how it is right now. I'll go ahead and add a boost onto this. I'll just throw on the SD1, since probably most of you guys have one of those. Hopefully you have one. So here it is with an SD1. Takes a boost really well. It really like tightens it up, and it's tight enough to plug straight into and play, but it doesn't quite have enough gain for my taste without the boost. So the boost really like gets it there, which I like. I haven't done any tube rolling in this. Maybe that would help bring out some of that latent distortion that's in this machine. But I will say it does sound a lot smoother than like the City JCA-100 that I have over there. And at the end of this, I'm going to do a comparison, you know, with the Jet City and the SLO 100. So you'll be able to get an even better idea of how these all kind of sit together. But yeah, it still kind of lacks low end, especially the boost is taking out some of the bass. So I'm going to start incorporating some depth knob now. We'll start out at like about maybe 3. So this is like 3/4 of the way up. huge difference in the low end and the low mids. That depth knob adds so much to these amps. The reason it was such a common mod on the SLO 100, it just makes it sound that much better, in my opinion. Not everybody feels that way, but for high gain riffing, I think that the depth knob is just really essential to these amps to bring them up to like modern levels of like tonality. So yeah, anyways, I'll turn it up a little more. I usually run it around noon, so let's see what that sounds like. And you guys probably know I'm usually boosting these heads, so you know this tone may not be representative of like what my normal dialed in tone for this is, because when you push that power amp, it'll cause the depth knob and the presence knob to do less and be less effective, and the mids are coming forward, so there's EQ adjustments for that, and so on and so forth. But anyways, let's hear what they sound like. Yeah, maybe a little bit more low end than what I would usually run. But here, I'll just turn it up some more here. Boomy as I was thinking it would be. It's actually didn't make much of a difference above noon. Here it is all the way up. It's strange. It doesn't really get too muddy, but I'm gonna bring it back down. This is about where I had it right at the very beginning of the video, and I'm just gonna kind of play with the knobs a little bit and get it dialed in, sounding good. So now let's check out the clean channel on this amp. So we just need to push that back in, and you see the LED changes to green. It's kind of cool. Yeah, so take that down, turn that back on. So yeah, it's a very dark sounding clean channel. If anything, I should have had the clean channel modded to be brighter, but it's a bit too late for that now. Maybe in the future I'll have it modded. But yeah, so you know, the treble's all the way up, obviously. There's nothing I can do about that. I can turn the bass down a bit. Let's see. There's the bright. That might improve it. And then you've got the reverb. To be honest with you, this is one of the worst clean channels I've ever heard. It just lacks any sort of like expressiveness to it. It's like compressed and dark, and it sucks. I'm sorry to say it, but I just don't like it. The reverb doesn't sound good. Alright, so I'm going to engage the Fryette power station, and we're going to dial up the power amp and see how it sounds under heavy volume with more distortion hopefully coming from the power tubes. So let's do that now. Yeah, that just made an already killer sounding amp sound that much better. Soldanos sound great once you really crank them up and get those power amp tubes and power tubes cooking, and get that output transformer to distort a little bit, and you know, getting that phase inverter distorting. You know, all those components in the power section really make a difference once you start to hear them a little bit more. But I do feel like it gets a little bit more muddy when you turn it up. The no clarity is kind of a lot less. It does sound really fun to riff out on, but it doesn't sound as clear as it does at lower volume settings. I want to say that when I am using this with my other amps in the switching system, it needs to be turned up a little bit more to be at the same relative volume level. So let me see if we can turn it up a little bit more. Alright, so next I'm going to get the JCA-100 set up over here, and we'll go back and forth between the two amps, and let me know which one you like better in the comments. Alright, so right here I've got my Jet City JCA-100. It has a depth mod. The depth on this is very similar to the one on this. I mean, they're doing the same thing, and they're both set at around noon or a little bit below noon, so very similar depth settings. We'll start off with the power amps sort of conservative, doing sort of a jam room volume, and then we'll sweep it up and get to the high output power amp distortion through the power station in just a moment. So I'm going to start out with the T100 over here, okay? There's the Jet City. Fantastic. So we'll go back to the T100. I want to try something with a T100. I'm going to go ahead and put a jumper in the effects loop. Sometimes that adds a little bit of fullness to the sound. So yeah, I've just got a couple of 1/4 inch jumper cables here. I'll do the same thing to the JCA-100. We're on the T100. It definitely feels a lot stiffer and less like saggy than the Jet City. It has a lot more like just kind of, it's a little bit harsher of a feel. So let's go back to the Jet City. Jet City definitely sounds a bit louder in the room. Let me see if I can get this master up a bit more. So for the very last part of this video, I'm going to throw in the SLO-100 over here, and we'll compare the three of these heads. I am going to be running the power station for this part of the video, and we will go back and forth between the three, but we're going to be hearing the distorted power amp tones coming out of these. And I'm going to dial them in a little bit here and try and get them to sound pretty similar. Here's the T100. enjoyed this video. If you did, please like and perhaps leave a comment, and be sure to subscribe. So until next time, stay greasy.